Right, okay. Yes, something crackled, Dave. When you were playing about with the connectors down on your right. Is that the right? No, the other way. Difficult to tell on TV. When you were playing, it was crackling and making a noise, so you've got a loose connection there. Good evening. I'll put it back to you when I've had a quick go, but I'll keep going for a little while so you can see if you can find anything. I haven't had much to add. I've bought myself a transistor radio. I thought I'd have a tranny portable. It's one of the very first, made by Everready, Sky Leader. One of the very first made in this country, and it works brilliantly. It's a very good radio, and you can still buy the batteries for it. It's not valve, it's got 6 transistors in it, and it's excellent. It's just extremely scruffy and falling to pieces, but don't care. I like a bit of history like that. It goes well with the other radio I've got up in the top corner, right up the top there, the old Bush AC81, which is very nice. Anyway, right, I will now try and put it back round to you, Dave, and see if you've got any better signal now, so you can introduce the crew. G8GKQ, G7NTG.
G from G8GKQ. Okay, my apologies. There's just a little bit of background volume so I can hear whether I'm working. My apologies. That was it's a dodgy 3.5mm jack. I found the connector and I'm pushing it at the moment, so that's why I'm not doing anything else. Okay. Busy week. Cat 21 presentations are all on the wiki, and thanks to some sterling work from Noel, the Cat, and David and Tammy, the Cat 21 video on the BATC YouTube channel now. Looking ahead, SimSem Activity Day on Sunday the 7th of November. Please put that in your diaries. The Dutch will be active from Dwingaloo as well. Thanks, Jim, for stepping in and taking it there. We'll go round to Richard next, GI4DOH, and then we'll call in Russ, G4SAQ. Charles, I think, is joining us, G4GUO, Roger, G3IUZ, and I also see Duncan, G7VPF, Tony, G0AZQ, Nigel, G8AYC. I'll add you all to the list and put it up on the net, on the chat in a moment. But let's go round to Richard without further ado, and then it's round to Russ, G4SAQ after that, from G8GKQ.
G8GKQ is the group GI4DOH. Just watching, see if I can get video as well. Right, I think I'm on. Yeah, just sort of caught on the hop there. I wasn't quite ready for that, and all the rest. That's all part of the challenge. Yes, good evening all, and yeah, that was great. Cat 21 was very informative in a number of ways. I did have to nip out for a COVID test, which I'm pleased to say was negative, and I had a wee bit of surgery a couple of days ago. I've had an implantable loop recorder in my chest for the last 3 years, but the battery's been flat from November, or since November. They're finally taking the thing out, so I'm trying not to laugh too loud and things like that. But yeah, I had to nip out for a while, so caught up on the EMF talk this afternoon, and I'll catch up on the other things tomorrow sometime. So not a lot has changed here. Still hacking away at the Portstown 4, supposed to be self-contained in every way, including having a coax relay mounted on the thing and connected as an integral part. As you always need to be on there so know where it is. I'm waiting for a 12-volt fan. I thought I had some in stock, but I've only got 5-volt ones, and do have an outlet for the air to get through. So that's kept me busy between metalwork and messing about. I did rework the 8-way switch as per your instructions, Dave. I was a little bit confused about that last week when I looked at the input attenuator, and I thought, hang on, you're actually reducing the attenuation there, but of course you're changing the balance of attenuation on the input versus the attenuation of the output of the thing. So rework that with just hacking it with a wee bit of sticky labels to put the components on the board. That was all good fun, and it works. I'm pleased to say it's always a bit worrying when you take something that works and start messing about with it, but that's all done, and no 8-way switches were damaged in the process. So I think that's enough for me. I think it's Russ. I don't think we've met on the satellite before. Russ, good evening to you. I'll pass it around to you now. G4SAQ with the group GI4DOH.
Sorry about that, chaps. This is G4SAQ. Okay, this is my first QSO with anyone on the on DATV. So it's really nice to be on and make your acquaintances. My equipment at the moment is a real lash up. I mentioned to Dave this afternoon on the chat that I've got everything set up on a trestle at the moment underneath my dish. I'm up in the shack operating, but everything's on this trestle and it's covered over with a tarpaulin at the moment to try and keep the dew off it. So there's considerable amount of work required to tidy up, but I'm delighted it's all working. It's lovely to see a signal going out, and I've got a 1.2 meter dish, and I see I've got a MER of 7.1, 7.2 and a D4, so that's excellent. This is going to sound a little bit like one of these television presentation things, but I really must thank Dave, GKQ, for having inspired me. It all started off when he twisted my arm at Newbury a few years back to buy a mini tuner kit, and everything went downhill from there. Anyway, I acquired a pallet from Jim, G7NTG, so thanks for that, Jim. It took me a long time to finish it off. Well, in actual fact, the actual main amp itself wasn't too bad, but the problem I've had is trying to get a driver for it working, and I tried the MHPA 21010 and never had any luck with that. And then I tried a French design. At the moment I'm using one of the AMSAT 5-watt driver amps, and I think that's probably putting about 3 watts into the main amp, but that's being fed from a couple of cascaded AMSAT filtered drivers. So things need tidying up here, but at least the signal's coming out, and it looks fairly clean on the spectrum, so I'm pleased with that. The other mention is to Mike G0MJW, who was extremely helpful recently with getting my EMF assessment sorted out. The forward beam part of it was okay, but the spillover part I thought was going to cause me a real problem because it was getting dangerously close to the neighbour's boundary. But and I thought I might have to move the dish, which would have been a nightmare. But anyway, I've managed to sort it out now, and I've got 0.2 of a metre spare from the Ofcom clearance, so I'm happy with that. That's great. Anyway, I've rambled on far too long. I've got to put it over to G4 GUO. So there we go. Let me find out how I turn this off. I've got to remember what I'm doing here. I've got to take a crocodile clip off. Okay, over to you, G4 GUO. G4G.
Right, I don't know whether this is working or not. Right, I don't know whether. Yep, I've got audio. Yes, it's a bit hit and miss here, and welcome Russ to amateur television. It's nice to see new faces on. The problem with my lash up is that the Jetson Nano, for some reason or other, needs a reboot now and again, because I was transmitting earlier and it was transmitting what looks like a DATV signal, but nothing could be received. So I had to reboot the system, and I haven't had the thing turned on for about a month. I had one of these smart meters installed, and I realised how much power was being used in the workshop with the oven for the GPSDL. Well, I turned all the power off there, and of course the computers are on the same circuit. Which reminds me, hold on a moment, I just want to try something. While I'm transmitting, Alexa, turn on the hallway light. Oh, well, it works. So I'm not jamming the Zigbee transmission, because I've got some of these smart lamps, and they operate in the same part of the band that we operate on. So I was quite surprised that those lights came on. Alexa, turn off the hallway light. Well, it's struggling now. And maybe it's not quite as good as I thought. Never mind. Right, who's next? Oh, it's gone out. Obviously, G3RUZ's next. So I'll hand it over to you when I've got my
Well, just waiting for me pictures to get there. Ah, there we are. I seem to have made it at last. Oh, I had made it. Okay, good evening everybody. Hopefully this is working and I can see myself coming back. I don't know if my sound is in sync, but hopefully it is. So a few people I haven't seen before on here. I haven't been on here for a while, so good to meet you all. I think apart from Dave, Richard was the only one I think I've seen before, and I had a nice chat to him at up at Coventry, which was very good when I was up there in my shorts, which seems to have got onto the front page of CQTV. So I'm lowering the tone there. Anyhow, thanks to everybody involved in the cat. I could only stay to about lunchtime, as my brother and his family were down, and I've not seen them for nearly 2 years, I think, because of COVID. So they came first, I'm afraid. But this afternoon I've been watching the video about the new regulations. So that's quite good. So then I went outside and did a bit of measuring in my garden. I don't know if you can see this. It's only a very rough sketch. Let's have a look. Oh, there we go. Yes. So basically, my dish is far enough away from my fence at 5.7 metres that even if my neighbour was standing on his side of the fence, I could probably still run 400 watts and not cook him at all. So that was quite pleasing. The beam centre is, where it crosses the fence, is 4.1 metres off the ground, according to my measurements, so that's okay. Anyhow, so that's what I've been doing. Other than that, I'm starting to build some more stuff, but it's very hard to get all the components, isn't it, really? I bought a Raspberry Pi this week. I had to wait for them to get one in. It said on the website $33.90, and when they got one in stock, it was 39 something. So it's gone up a bit. And I've got a Line Mini on back order as well. Who knows when that'll turn up? I don't know. I did buy a 5-inch monitor though, so there's something to have a little play with. Anyhow, I think that'll do for me. Who's next in the list after me? G8AYC, another call sign I don't recognise, so I'll pass it round to you. This is G7VVF on the net. Standing by.
Evening folks, hope you can copy. Yeah, I think I'm transmitting. Yeah, a bit nervous about all this live stuff. Great, thanks Dave. Okay, nice to join this net of all these amazing amateur TV people. Been many years since I
did sort of analog ATV, so it's nice to get involved with all this high-tech stuff. Although I'm still desperately learning all this, all these TS streams and MPEG and all that sort of stuff. Anyway, today's project was to get a remote signal level meter or sort of power consumption meter. My dish is right down the bottom of the garden, so I've got a shunt down there in series with a power supply, and I've got a spare coax, and that's brought into the shack, and then I made up this thing which got an amplifier in it, and that drives that meter, so that's giving me sort of live current consumption of the G7NTG wonderful amplifier that I got from him, which is working really well and running. It's only just ticking over this sort of power level. The other remote thing that I've got working is this Raspberry Pi based Wi-Fi, and I've got little remote sensors in various places, including one at in the dish cabinet right down the bottom of the garden. And the remarkable thing is, I can actually pick up that sensor even though it's in a metal box. Needless to say, not when I'm transmitting, but when I'm not transmitting, I get a reading of the temperature. Anyway, that's me gabbling on for probably far too long. So round to HB9DUG.
Okay, I think that now I have the connection now. Un, deux, trois. With audio. Ah, super. Okay. Sorry, it's a little bit complex this evening. I am showing you, well, first, good evening all of you. Very pleased to be tonight with you. I would like first also thank you for last week, last Saturday, BATC workshop. I was only on the video only receive mode, but it was really superb. So tonight for me is the first. What you are seeing is that I'm transmitting with SDR Angel software from Edouard Fox 4 Echo X-Ray Bravo. Maybe you're not familiar with this software, which is really fantastic. And basically right now I'm transmitting with it and receiving also with it, using today Etus B200 SDR box. When that one works correctly, I will try with certainly with Lime SDR. Pluto, I think that will not work because it's really is not full duplex. So basically what you are seeing on my screen is SDR Angel on the left screen. Right now you are seeing my transmission. On the right screen you see OBS. So I'm using OBS and I stream to SDR Angel my TS transport stream. And I have at the same time, now I've changed, you will see it in maybe 15 seconds. So this is my reception of my signal, and I can see it, hopefully it's a demo, yeah, it's coming. So you can see it with echo now in my speech on the right screen. So I need to be honest.
Right, good evening all. Let me just make sure I've got some audio. Yes, lip sync's all over the place, but anyway, that'll do for now. Right. Sorry, this thing's driving me mad. I'll cut it off one day, I'm sure of it. Right, very good evening all. Apologies to Michael and Michelle, rather. I'm guessing there may have been technical issues there. I have something to show. Let me just, I shall lose a chat for a few seconds, so bear with me. Right, move. On the subject of dishes, so as can be seen on that picture there, that is my dish in the corner there. You can just about see the little white reflection. So with this particular this particular website, which is called dishpointer.com, I'm sure there are others out there. You can put in your location. You can move the actual bubble about, so you can actually move that to wherever you like. So you can actually put it exactly where your dish is. It then gives you this line which shows you the direction to point. And if you can't quite see it, I can't move it down without getting an advertisement on the screen. I don't want to get the advertisements on. But this bit here, up in the top right hand corner, there's a little thing you've got to check on that. As long as you check it, you get this little thing up here. And with this, you can actually move it around. So the first point I've got a problem is there, which is the corner of their house, my neighbour's house, which is 15.3 metres away and 7.5 metres high by the time it gets there. And I'm assuming that's to the centre of the beam. So from memory, 25 watts into a 1.2 metre dish, the clear zone was 10.1 metres or so. So the 10.1 metres, if I can get it there, is about there. So actually, I'm quite away from their building for these things. So I think I'm safe there. If I zoom in, it'll help me a bit better. Sorry, the Google Map thing goes a bit funny by then. You can see that's the actual line of the house. That's just the shadow of the house. So that gives me, and I do apologise because I can't see the chat at the moment. My neighbour's fence is about 8 metres away, and the signal's already 4.1 metres high. This is my only issue, is these people here, I don't think can get close enough because that's my shed there. So there's got to be at least 3 metres from the back of the dish to the closest point they can get to. That's the boundary fence there, which has got a retaining wall which is 1.2 metres high. The dish to the centre is 1.3 metres high. So in effect, half the dish is buried, plus their buildings there. So there's only like a little alleyway there. They don't often go down there. So I'm fairly sure I'm safe there. So I'm assuming that I must be compliant as long as I only run a 25 watts. Because where was it again? The distance of 10.1 meters is there. And I'm probably 3 meters away from the house. Was it 4 meters, I think, actually. So the point of the house, they're nearly 5 meters away. So am I right in thinking I'm safe? I can continue to transmit on air. Anyway, the site is brilliant. Highly recommend it, but as I say, I can't show you it because there's advertisements all over the place, and of course we don't do that on here, do we? But it's dishpointer.com, and I assume it does it for everywhere. It's only Google Maps stuff in there, so even our European friends should hopefully be able to take advantage of it as well. But if I zoom out, you'll see there isn't really anything there. So the nearest house that gets there afterwards is probably that one there, and that is over 25 meters away, and it's already nearly 17 meters high. So I really don't think I've got an issue with any of these or these. It's just this corner here. But again, if I remember reading the thing, if I read it right, it's from the foot, so 1.8 meters high. An average floor in a dwelling is around about 2.7 meters. So 2.7 meters plus 1.8 is 3.5, 4.5 meters. 7.5 meters high. So I'm pretty sure that covers me, even if there's someone stood in that top floor. Unless someone's working in the roof, which is unlikely, I think I'm safe. Anyway, I'll now go back to the chat, and I'll look for all the no, that don't work, that's wrong, and everything else that comes on. Right, bear with me. Right, anyway, so that was pretty much it. One other last thing quickly to show. I don't think if anyone remembers from last week, where are we? NVIDIA's turn this fuzzing off. As you won't see it. Come on. Camera. Turn off the effect. Right. Do you remember this light that I found in a skip? Well, I got one of these selfie type LED light things for £2 off eBay, second hand. Didn't come with a base, but I've managed to make it. It's on a ball joint, and that is a one of these Fresnel lenses. I think Noel got one of these as well, which are pretty good Fresnel lenses. I've now got myself a workbench. If I don't do it too bad, so I don't scare you all. No, I'm not going to do it. I'll do it with my hand probably. I'll go over this camera, so you can see. It's quite a good image from it, but anyway, it's a very cheap, skip fine, stroke £2 plus bits and pieces I had already, inspection lamp thing with a magnifying glass. So with that, round two, who was next? G3 IUZ G7 JTT. Where are we?
Right, let's see if we've got some audio this time. Just waiting for right, let's see if we've got I think we have, oh joy. Someone's already said it's an evening of incidents one way and the other. Oh dear. So apologise all round for adding to the general mayhem this evening. I've no idea why I didn't come up first time. One of life's mysteries. Anyway, and then I'm not sure why I lost the audio either. So I rebooted OBS and I also rebooted the F1 EJP. And that seems to have fixed it. Well, I haven't got a lot to say. I was going to congratulate Russ on his first appearance. I know how nail-biting, because I only did it a few weeks ago for the first time, so I know it's a bit clenching, isn't it? Anyway, that was an excellent picture, and I'm sure Dave will have something to say about that. And I hope I don't think there's any rain forecast tonight, so I think your gear will be okay. Apart from, as you said, a bit of dew on it. Right. Thank you, Jim. Just seeing your comment about mayhem is part of the fun. Well, in that case, I promise to contribute largely to it. A couple of quick things. First of all, say thank you very much to all involved with that superb day, the Cat21 on Zoom. That really was excellent. I appreciated all the presentations very much, and of course particularly the one on the EMF, which is all a little bit worrying, but isn't as worrying as it was before they started. I found that very reassuring. But I'll be interested in further comments there on what we've just heard from John. The other thing I showed you last week, the 23 SEMS amplifier that I was building. I've now got a proper heatsink for it. There are lots of these I found on eBay. quite a decent heatsink, and that seems to have cracked the cooling problem. So, and it was exactly the right size, just a nice little bit of clearance all around and room to stick the fan. So that's that sorted, and I've had several contacts now on terrestrial with G4UVZ. So that's another milestone. The other thing that I just thought, I'm sure lots of you have seen it before, and I'm not sure where I saw it. Somewhere on the net, it might have been in the RSGB soldering presentation, which again was another excellent one. I thought the RSGB weekend was a convention weekend was excellent again. But to do with cleaning up circuit boards, I've used isopropyl before, like most people, but I came across a recommendation of this. It's from not RS, it's from the other company, Tech Spray E-Line Defluxer, and it's in a spray can, and it comes with a little soft brush on it, and boy, doesn't it clean up the circuit boards. Absolutely brilliant. Wish I'd found this before. It brings them up and gets rid of all the flux and muck, and having the little brush on it, and it's an aerosol with a little trigger. So if you haven't come across it and you're into surface mount, Tech Spray E-Line, and from the firm begins with F. You know who I mean. So there we are. Right, that's enough from me. I won't come back again unless there's anything in particular, but thank you all very much. And it goes to G0AZQ. This is G3IUZ, and the BATC Net, passing it to G0AZQ.
And miraculously we are here. Good evening all. Sorry about the delay and not coming in earlier on. Let's just kill the sound on that. It's nice to know that we've got some audio going back. So I've got a nice little, doesn't showing up too well, but we had our rally for the Hornsey Radio Club here in Driffield, which we normally have in Hornsey in previous years, but we've tried it at the new QTH and it was very successful. We had somewhere like about between 350 and 400 people through the door, and we also ran. We've got some stray audio here somewhere. I can't. Let's just get rid of that one. Okay. So it was very successful, and we'll have it next year at the same QTH, but maybe in a slightly larger area. But anyway, that was good. That little thing in the background you can maybe see is something that I bought at the rally, which has got my call sign on. Let's grab it down and show it close up. And it's available in all sorts of different colours. And if I press the button, it will go. It's done by a local guy in Hull, and he engraves it out, and you can put what you like in the background. So have a look at the Cat 21 yet. I've been busy with all sorts of other bits and pieces, but I've got another camera, so I'll just show you this camera and bore everybody with it. And it sort of goes round and does its own thing depending on which button I press, and there we go. That's a automatic pan and tilt. There's a view of the shack from a different angle. I press the other button, then it should go and show Vulcan in full flight hanging from the ceiling over there. I don't know where the other bit of the camera goes, but there we go. Pan and tilt cameras. Oh, there we go. And that shows the advantage that it's got of being able to go in and out with either wide angle or close up and autofocus. Isn't all that clever? Well, I think it is. So anyway, we'll come back to my ugly mug, and there's always a little bit of a delay on there. And for those who saw me before, I was told I was looking like the Mad Professor, so we've had a little bit of a haircut. I think we got a bit mad with it, actually. I should have left it as it was. I was quite happy looking like the Mad Professor. Right, I don't know who we got next. No? Oh, G0MJW. I see that's on the list there. Thank you, Dave, for letting us in. So we'll put it over to you, G0MJW. And we've got to go and do the proverbial bits and pieces as far as things are concerned. So we all know who we are. So there's the test card. And although a little bit squashed, we perhaps should have put that in 4.3 as it was originally. Cheers all, and maybe catch you next week. G0AZQ clear.
Right, sorry to be a little bit late, but had to run an errand. Thank you, Gareth, when you watch this on the playback. Had to meet up with Gareth to pass over a piece of equipment which I shall look at and see how it works. So consequently I was a little bit late. Anyway, I've not seen what anyone else has said, so I can't really comment on that, but I'm sure it was all very interesting. I'll just have to wait and see. A few things I can show, if I can persuade the mouse to work. There we go. So on the bench, we've now got the 5-inch ports down. We've got a battery, a lithium iron phosphate battery that Colin recommended, so I got one as well. I tested its capacity. It's at least 6 ampere hours. I'm a bit concerned there's a slight bulge in the front, but I think that's fairly normal. 6 ampere hours at 12 volts, and a lot safer than lithium polymer. That was measured, not what its spec is. Next to it is a 3D printed PP9 with 4 18650 cells in it for later use as a replacement for the PP9s that go in hacker radios. 4 batteries would give you about the right voltage for 2 PP9s, or 2 give you about right for 1 PP9. Of course, then you put them in series or parallel depending on whether you want capacity or voltage. And put a little charger thing in the middle. That's the idea anyway. What else? Oh yes, and there's a new sound card, USB sound card that turned up, ready to be attached to the ports down 5-inch 4 that is sitting there at the moment. So there you go. Not a lot else to say. So let's say 7-3 to everybody, and pass it back to whoever is next. I don't have someone on the list. Oh yes, I do. It's to Dave, G8GKQ. So right over to you, Dave. G8GKQ G0MJW.
Just check I really have audio this time. And I do, so let's cut that. G8GKQ, thank you, Mike. Was prescient you should be showing one of the USB sound cards. That was the reason I didn't have any audio earlier. It was a dry joint on the 3.5mm jack. I took the case off and you could actually see the crack around the dry joint. quick resolder, and I'm in business. So I think I might mechanically sort that out prior to next week. Russ, great congratulations on joining the net with a flawless performance first time. It tends to be the ones who come on every week who have all the problems. So you, like Roger, came up first time perfectly. So really good to see you. Somebody mentioned Lime SDRs. Yeah, they're being hit by the component problem, like we all are. They're having great trouble building some more because they just can't get the bits. February, I think, was the last I heard from them. EMF, yeah, that was a very good introductory talk on Saturday. There is lots more to come. John, I think you're way safe there. No problems at all. I'm actually, Noel and I are actually in a meeting with Ian and Peter and a few others to come up with some much more tailored guidance for QO100 dishes tomorrow afternoon. So there'll be lots more to come on EMF. What have I been up to? I've been playing with Portsdown 4. I haven't done any software for that for a long time. If anybody thinks of any little features they want in the Portsdown, please send me a quick email. While I'm in the mood, I might be able to implement them. The one thing I am doing is changing the stream viewer from using OMX Player, which it used to use, to using VLC, and trying to improve the reliability so that the likes of SQ and HV that use them on receive don't lock up. And I've been also working on a voltmeter for my portable kit. I'll just show you that. Stand by. So this is my portable rack. The bottom 2U is 2 meters with PAs for phone and for TV. Next 1U is 70 sems. The next 1U is 23 sems. And then on the right in the half racks you've got a mini tuner. And in the box above it is an 8-way switch for transmit, but I had lots of spare panel space and space inside, so I put a voltmeter on it, and you can see there it's 13.52 volts, which is really good for portable operation. So let's go back to the camera. I've waffled on long enough. Yes, I am running H.265. Good evening, Werner. Thank you for your comment. Right, I've just put the order up there, so let's put it straight round to Jim G7NTG. And last comment before I go is thanks to Noel Dirk on Cat 21 last weekend. Really enjoyed it. G7NTG, G8GKQ.
Mute it. Right. It sounds awful, this, because there's very high gain on this new Logitech webcam. It's a bit more powerful than the one I had that's still waiting for a new cable. Alright, a couple of things. Well, even this. Yes, I agree, these are alright. Always carry spares, you never know. I'm talking of PP9s inside this ever-ready radio. If I come a bit closer, we have a PP9, and you will also notice that the radio doesn't have a printed circuit board. This one is a transistor radio that's built on a chassis. No PCB in sight, so there you go. And it might work. Well, yeah, I think the I think the TV transmission and power supplies are upsetting it a bit. The only other thing I'm going to add before I go is a problem that has been had by G4 EEV, Dave. I don't know whether you're watching, Dave, who's had a power supply failure while the transmitter was transmitting, which I fear might have done some damage to the PA. Because while these big amplifiers are running, if you remove the power supply, you get a big spike fed back to the base of the transistors, and it can take quickly. It's usually fatal somewhere if you turn off the power while it's transmitting, because some people I know were used to switch off the power to stop transmitting, which is definitely not a good idea. I've had several failures due to this, so I've learnt the hard way. But yeah, so it's just a point to remember. Don't turn off your transmission on TV by turning off the power to the final stages. It's fatal. Turn off the drive. Just switch off the drive amplifier, they'll put up with it. Anyway, with that, it's around to Richard. GI4DOH from G7NTG with the nice net with lots of gremlins.
G7NTG with the group GI4DOH. Just waiting. Yes, there's my sound. How do I get rid of the sound? Yes, yes indeed. Roger, that flux spray you had looks very useful. I find using cotton buds and isopropyl, you leave lots of little bits of fibre, particularly if you clip the leads on things and they sort of catch and you know, sort of trying to clear the little bits of the fibre from the cotton buds. Well, I finished a little brush, might get around that, must consider that at some stage. And Tony, it's a very competitive hobby, this, and I have to show also got a light. It's bigger than your one, but it's not multicolour. And I think that was a birthday present or something like that from one of the junior ops. And Mike, in talking about sound, in trying to integrate everything for portable use, I got, let's see, will that focus? Just a little module. I think I got 3 of those for just over £6. Supposedly 3-watt stereo amplifiers, complete with on-off switch on the volume control. And I just happen to have on the junk box a little speaker or something. So just trying to integrate everything with on the Quest to get out portable. A thing that got reviewed as we're talking about EMF and all the rest in one of the magazines. I can't remember whether it was Radcom or Practical Wireless a while ago. Was this little RF meter and the rest? It's beeping away at the moment. It's the first time I've actually tried using it while I've been on 2.4 gigs, and it's certainly telling me I have over 10 milliwatts per square or per meter squared. Or square meter. So I'm trying to read the thing and speak at the same time. It does tell me when I'm on 10 meters with my Moxon, which is just about eye level, pointing at the window. If it's pointing southwards, it was warning me about the electric field. I think going by its little card is avoid long time stay in that area. So it's not very often I'm pointing south with the on 10 meters. Just there have been some day expeditions there in the last week or so, distracting me from the ATV. So that's enough for me for tonight. So wish you all 7 threes. look forward to seeing you all again next week, and look forward to catching up on the just one of the talks that I missed on Saturday. And I'll pass it round to Russ. G4SAQ with the group. This is GI4DOH. Running out of breath.
Yes, okay, this is G4SAQ returning. Just let me mute my audio. That really throws me when I hear my own voice coming back with a delay on it. Okay, well, a very good evening to Mike, and thanks very much for your help, Mike, with the EMF business. It was great getting that information on the potty feed and being able to make some accurate calculations on that basis. In fact, John might benefit from knowing what you told me, Mike. John, you mentioned the area behind the dish, and of course Mike pointed out to me something which seems glaringly obvious, that you're not interested in the distance from the back of the dish, you're interested in the distance from the feed. So that gives you almost an extra metre to play with when you're looking at spillover over the back. So thanks for that, Mike. That really helped. And I've finished the assessment now, so I'm very pleased with that. The other thing, Mike, is that article you did in CQTV on setting up the OBS with Freestream and everything. That was really useful. I'd had problems with stuttering video, and the audio wasn't brilliant either. And setting the OBS to 15 frames a second seemed to sort all that out. So I'm very glad you wrote that article. Thanks. Okay, well, I think that's about all from me tonight, because I've got to get outside and dismantle all the gear and put it in the garage. My wife is out dancing tonight. She's got an amateur radio license, but she doesn't use it anymore. I don't go dancing, so we've got a happy compromise here. Anyway, I've got to go out and put everything away. I'm just looking at my list, and I think it's G4GUO to take it. So thanks for your company, gentlemen, and thanks very much, Dave, for running the net tonight. G4GUO to take it. Don't go dancing, so we've got a happy compromise here. Anyway, I've got to go out and put everything away. I'm just looking at my list, and I think it's G4GUO to take it. So thanks for your company, gentlemen, and thanks very much, Dave, for running the net tonight. G4GUO to take it.
Yeah, sorry about the delay. It's I've got so many things going on the screen at the moment.
I don't go dancing, so we've got a happy compromise here. Anyway,
just turn the audio off. Well, I don't have a little illuminated sign. All I've got's a baseball cap, so that'll have to do. I've never had the audacity to wear this at a rally or anything. It's a bit like I recently bought an EV, and I thought, well, should I get a customized number plate for it, because my call sign's still available for 250 quid or something. But then I thought, oh, it's a bit of a prat having that, so I didn't bother. It's quite interesting with the EV, because the manufacturer's manual says that they've got an electromagnetic compatibility sheet that you can get, that tells you how much power you can run and where you can stick the antennas. So I contacted the dealer, and he said, oh, we've never had anybody ask for that, so they've had to contact the manufacturer. That was a few weeks ago, so I wonder if the manufacturer's ever had anybody ask for it either. Well, I think that's about it from me. I've got nothing much amateur radio related to say. We did have a mini tornado in the village last night, apparently, but when I went up there this afternoon, I couldn't see any of the damage. couple of trees down and what have you, but that was about it. So it may have been a non-event, but still, everybody was posting about it on our Facebook group for the village. We've got a scarecrow competition this month, and it's for charity, and there's 60 odd people have entered the competition. I haven't done, so that will be something for me to look at. I might take some pictures of the various scarecrows. I did think of having a radio amateur hanging from my roof, you know, with aerial in one hand, as if he'd fallen off or something, but I never got around to doing it. Right, I think that's it for me. I suppose to be polite, I should say who's going to be next. Yeah, I've got the heating turned off. Since getting my gas bill is the new tariff has gone up by about 40%. Oh, it's G7 VVF next, is it? Yes, it is. Right. Well, I better hand it to him then, rather than me waffling. So just from the command line, set the gain of the PA to virtually nothing. Not the gain of the PA, the output of the line to virtually nothing.
Oh, thank you, Charles. Oh, let's turn my sound down. Well, I seem to have a little bit of a delay on sound, but never mind. I worked out why I had a few problems last time. The free stream coder was running software mode and not Intel hardware. By the way, I've now on my third i5 6th generation, and they all run the H.265 encoding. So you can get them on eBay for about £100 now. Cheaper than graphics cards that you can't get hold of anyhow. So there you go. Right, what was I going to do? Oh, John, JTT, I liked your dish pointer website or whatever it was. That was quite good, because I went out in the garden, I don't think you saw this earlier, and did it the old school way with a tape measure and some trigonometry. But there you go. I came to the same conclusion as you, that it's 4.1 metres as it goes over my neighbour's fence. So, and the houses are even further away, so no problem there, I don't think. No calculations for what comes out the back of the dish, though, or around it or whatever. Just wanted to do that. Show me another picture. There we go. Right, well, I think that's it really. I haven't got much else than what I've already said. Oh, I just find my pictures are coming through a bit quicker now, because I've rebooted the Winter Hill as well. I find after a couple of weeks of being on, it gets slower and slower. Anyhow, there we go. Yeah, no, thank you. Cup of tea's just appeared in my loft. There we go. No, Mike, no children are behind the dish, so it's fine, really. There, I do back onto a school, but yeah, there we go. Right, who is next? Let me just oh, it's just gone off my screen. G8AYC is next. Round to you at G7VVF on the net. Thank you very much.
Right, hello there again. Right, all quite interesting. One thing I omitted to say my last over was thank you very much for all concerned on the Cat 21 production. That was fantastic, series of talks. And thanks to Mike G0MJW for relaying on the onto the satellite, I was a perfect copy all the time. So that's brilliant. I've been struggling for ages with fiddling around trying to get the Pluto working nicely with these digital streams and that. What I find really weird is that if I put something like the test card up like that, everything's fine. But if I put this picture up of my dishes and I look at the TS monitor on the Pluto control panel, it all goes into the red. The buffers, the buffer really goes into the red, and I don't know why, because it's a stationary picture. And I thought, is it because there's a lot of detail? So I tried blurring it, but absolutely no effect. So the mystery there. I'm sure one of the experts can shed light on that. But it's driving me a bit crazy. Anyway, I'll keep it short because I'm a bit new to all this, and I expect some other people have got something more interesting to say. So I think it's I'm gonna. Yes, I wondered what the PTS setting was, Mike. So thanks for that. I need to investigate what that means because I wasn't too sure what that meant. So that's good information. Right, I'll pass it round to HB9DUG now. This is G8AYC.
Hello again, everybody. Let's just mute that. Now, I wasn't going to do any VLS stuff, but as we have G4 SAQ on, I can't not talk about VLF, can I? For those that do have VLF type receivers, this weekend, SAQ, which is Grimtown or Grimton in Sweden, I think, wherever it is, somewhere like Scandinavia way anyway, is going to be transmitting on 17.2 kilohertz in CW, and the transmission starts at 1500 UTC. So for us in the UK, that's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So anybody that's got VLS stuff, do try and listen. Do email in your reports as well, because they really do appreciate those, and you'll be added to the list of people that have heard it. And the actual transmission is heard pretty much all around the world, including places like Australia, Indonesia, India, America, you name it. It's a fantastic thing. So if you've got the capabilities, do have a listen this weekend. And then for Jim, you mentioned about PSUs or switch mode power supplies, whatever, knocking out your radio or interfering with your radio. This is a mess, to say the least. What you can see there are 2 switch mode power supplies that create this dancing pattern. It looks awful on there because of the FEC I'm running, but on my screen it's very sort of hypnotic and quite pretty, to be honest. It's but it's a pain because what you can see is, and I'll have to try and do this on the fly, that line going up through there, that's DCF77 time signal, and the one going up over here, that's MFS time signal. So that one's in the clear, but the German frequency is pretty much completely ruined with regards to trying to receive or decode it. I can, but if you've got a wall-mounted clock, chances are you're not going to get it. So that was that. And just whilst I have got this on, this is actually my SDR Play RSP1A connected to my IF out from the FT897 that's got a ham it up up converter thing on it, and it's up converting it through. So it's a bit of a long-winded thing, but it's just that I had that in place for that. But the important thing is I've actually managed to get the SDR Play RSP1A to work with this Spectrum Labs. So well chuffed for that. That now means I can look all up to 2 gigs without having to go buy sound cards. It's actually all at IQ level. So very, very, very useful indeed. So that's that. Okay, enough of the very low stuff. And it's back around to Dave, I believe. Get the appropriate one up. Oh no, Mike next. There we go, round to Mike. Sorry, just reading what Ginger said.
Not sure what happened then. Right. I think Tony transmitted for some reason. Is he next? Don't think so. Right. Just a few things then to comment on. Right. So in the video stream, I'm taking some liberties, to say the least, with the settings. So I'm transmitting 180p, I think, at the moment, probably 15 frames a second, and I've got quite a long delay. As a result, I think it's nearly 6 seconds. But are we still doubling? No, I don't think so. I'm receiving myself anyway. Yeah, so the delay is quite long. 22, 20, 16, yeah, so it's about 6 seconds. Now, one thing I was going to show Roger was this. So if we go on to, oops, wrong camera. No, that was the right camera, sorry. But that was the wrong thing to show. So these are the various things I've got for cleaning flux, etc. That can be maybe useful. I think they can be got from Farnell. I'm not sure, or possibly from RS. Oops, got in the way of the camera there. Sorry. So on the far right is Flux Cleaner, Flux Clean. Then there's ULS, which is called Ultra Cleaning, Ultra Lube Cleaning Fluid. That's very good for cleaning stuff. Next to that is some isopropyl alcohol, and next to that is some nail polish remover. And as everyone knows that nail polish remover is in fact acetone, and if you want to dissolve your piece of equipment rather than clean it, then that is the thing to use. It's incredibly dissolving things. Not quite as bad as trichloromethane or carbon tetrachloride, but pretty aggressive stuff. So yeah, good things to have. I was going to try and get this to work with a proper window, but I didn't have time to set it up. So I'll just go straight to it. Just a second. Go to the desktop. Hopefully you'll see that and me. So this is what it looks like at the bottom of my bit of spectrum, and it's going to feed back because I've got the monitor in there as well. So that's where are we? Oh, actually we're a little bit below where you were, so let's go up a little bit more. And this is with a loop in the garden. So we should now have rugby, which is not showing up at the moment very much, probably because I'm on the wrong loop antenna and it's angled in such a way that it's rejecting it. We have here a switched mode power supply or something or other. Got another one up here, and we've got DCF 77 hiding in there. You can just about see it. So yeah, there's quite a bit of QRM on the LF bands, and if we go up a little bit further in frequency, you should start to see things like at 100 kilohertz ELORAN or LORAN. Ooh, I went a bit too far there. So there we go. I've also got a bit of attenuation in here because at night you get some incredibly strong signals causing all sorts of interference, including this one. And it's not as large as you might think because, again, I'm using the antenna that is pointing in the other direction. Anyway, apart from the exciting desktop issues, let's go back to me and let's see, who am I supposed to pass it back to next? Right, okay, I'm supposed to pass it around to Michael, so, or Michelle rather. HP9DUG, over to you, G0MJW.
Un, deux, trois. Seems to be okay. Well, nothing much to add. Well, solutions which are all software are quite difficult to handle sometimes, especially when it's full duplex from the same box. I'm just showing you these pictures of it's a new camera I just bought from a multimedia shop in Switzerland. Let me just put it back. Okay. This one is called Logitech Brio 4K streamer, and was auction price which is under 100 Swiss franc, which is quite nice for such a high quality camera, and works very nicely with OBS under Linux. Some very nice point of the OBS version of Linux is that you have many more add-ons. For example, for this camera, you can control it everything from the module, OBS module. You can zoom, you can span, you can change the resolutions. So it's really a nice solution. So that's it. This SDR Angel software is quite interesting. I must admit it's not easy to use. It's many different modules, but if you have it's quite interesting. You can use it for SSB, FM, DMR, you know it, and you have the module for it. Okay, so once more, thank you very much for the CAT 21. Many interesting session. I look forward to look at them in replay to see them, and I wish you all a good evening and see you next week. So the mic and the video back to let me go back. Caramba, I don't find it anymore. Anyway.
Okay, Michelle, my apologies, I didn't put that up in the order. Really pleased to see that setup with SDR Angel doing everything. Yes, clearly it's quite a difficult beast to drive, but very capable. That is really good. So thank you for showing us that. And good to see the excellent pictures from the Brio camera. That's the sort of the next one up from the C920s that we're all using. But you probably saw in the chat, Tony has a C930. He's going to send to me to try and get working ports down as well. So trying to extend the range of decent cameras that it uses, but it'll be Logitech or nothing, I'm afraid. We have to limit it somehow. Nigel, lovely pictures from you this evening. Yeah, it's the level of detail is one of the problems in that image, even when it's blurred, I think. I take it you're running vMix, because when you change image, your sound quality changes, so you're clearly either switching to a different mic or a different setup for your mic, but really good pictures. Charles, yeah, the possible tornado in Ferring was on the TV news tonight. And personalised plates, yes, I certainly wouldn't pay 250 quid for them, but when they're $10, like this one up here, it was worth it for a year of driving around in the States with that on. Vanity plates, as they're known as in the States, are a lot more commonplace, and they're only $10 extra. So, and they're per state. So as long as nobody else in Virginia has the call sign GKQ, it's easy. Right. That's it from me. Thank you all for coming on. What I'll do, though, is I'll pass it over to Mike, G0MJW, to talk about backscatter out of dishes from the potty feed. So G0MJW, G8.
Okay, I wasn't expecting that, Dave. You caught me by surprise there. There's not really much to say. It's just that, as far as I can see, and okay, Maybe if you take a single knife edge diffraction gain into there and do the various different functions. What are they called? Can't remember. Helmholtz or something? No. The word will come to me. Fresnel, the Fresnel equations. You could get up to 60 dB gain for a nice edge, but ignoring that for the moment because I don't think it would be applicable. If you assume that your dish, when you're behind it, wasn't there, then just do the calculation for the feed horn, given the distance from the feed horn, then that should give you a rough idea of what the worst possible case signal behind the dish would be, assuming that it's all blowing past the side of the dish. And with the potty feed and with a dish with an F to D above about 0.6, then there will be a significant amount coming out from the side of the dish because it's not optimal for that dish. And you could use a different type of feed, but with one of those feeds, it might only be 4 dB down at the edge. But even so, when you do the calculation, you discover the distance is probably about 3 meters when you're running a reasonable amount of power for DATV uplink, so it really doesn't matter. Where you would have a problem is if you're using a very, very small dish and very high power. Because then you really would have to pay attention to what's happening behind the dish, because the power will be concentrated there. But it's still only a few meters because the gain of the feed horn is only 10 dB, so the signal's spreading out quite a lot. So that was what Russ was asking about, and I didn't know the answer, but that was my suggestion, that he just does that calculation. And if the dish wasn't there, then that's what someone would get. So if they were standing by the side of the dish and the feed was illuminating them rather than the dish, or in fact if they were standing in front of the dish at the dish's surface, that would be the level that they would receive. Of course, in practice it will be less than that, but what you're trying to do is to do a test to find out the worst case, and if you pass the worst case test, then all is well. If you don't, then you have to do a bit more work. But I would have thought very, very few people will be in a situation like that, even those with neighbours with trampolines. So, with that, 7.3, and back round to GKQ, who's going to come and finish off the net, and is now surprised himself. G0MJW.
Thanks, Mike. Touche. Okay, that's fine. Really good. Okay, well, thank you all for coming on tonight. Been a really good net. I'm sorry about my technical problems, but I think people are getting better. It's just don't let the... I did test earlier and it worked then, but being a dry joint, that's what it does. So good night all, and look forward to seeing you next week. G8 GKQ closing the net, leaving the frequency clear. Good night.